Hello everyone, welcome to our channel United Chokras from Mumbai, and this is the pre-game analysis of Manchester United versus Arsenal. We are back from a wonderful game, a beautiful win against RB Leipzig. We literally thrashed them 5-0 is something no one expected us to do, and I think that will give our team a lot of confidence going into today's game. So before I begin this video, please make sure to hit the like button, and if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on that bell icon on the right hand side to get the latest notification. So guys, Manchester United versus Arsenal, one of the most exciting games of the season. Two of the managers who are young and relatively inexperienced but have shown a lot of promise. Now if you read the headline of the video, the title of the video, it says diamonds are forever. That's because we are playing with the diamond formation. We played with that formation against Leipzig. We were really successful. We thrashed them 5-0, and I think we should be playing with that formation for the most part of the season. Now I happened to watch Solskjaer's press conference, and he was talking about the diamond formation. The reason we are using it because we do not have wide players like David Beckham and Ryan Giggs who used to put in a cross for our midfield, for our strikers. We had Andy Cole and Dwight York do a lot of tap-ins and headers because of the crosses Giggs and Beckham used to supply. Now we do not have those kind of players, but we do have abundance in midfield. We have quality midfielders at our disposal. Now if you remember back in 2016 or 15 when Louis van Gaal was our manager, we had a lot of midfielders in our squad back then as well. We had Morgan Schneiderlin, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Marouane Fellaini and Herrera, but we still used to rely a lot on Michael Carrick to provide a dominant display and control the midfield. But that's no longer the case. All the midfielders that we have at our disposal are quality players. They will put in that shift, they will make that assist, they will help our forwards. So it's a really good midfield that we have, and I feel that if they do well this season, we can really build on that and challenge for the title next season. Now the most important part of the game when you're playing with the diamond formation is that you do not have out and out wingers. So you need your wing backs to charge in forward and put on a cross. That's when Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw's role become very important. Now if you watch Liverpool play, yes, they don't play with the diamond formation, but they have Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson doing really well on that wing back position. I think they are regarded as the best wing backs in Europe. Now I don't want our wing backs to exactly do that kind of thing, but they need to do well when they move in forward. Now Luke Shaw at the beginning of his career was really good when he used to charge in forward and used to make those runs, get dribble past the players. Over the years he's improved a lot defensively. He's learned from his mistakes, but I feel he's now holding himself back going forward. I think he should have had his goal against RB Leipzig, but yes, I do feel that he's holding himself back, and the manager needs to give him more freedom with this formation. The same is the case with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Defensively, I feel he's the best defensive right back in the Premier League, but he needs to improve a lot going forward. Yes, he's shown promises when he's put in the crosses, but those are not done consistently. It's like 1 in 4 or 5 games. So that has to improve, and it has to be done more consistently. Yes, that's why I stress on that wing back position. Now another reason I want the wing backs to go forward is because with this formation you are playing with 2 number 8s. Now whoever 2 midfielders who play in that diamond as a number 8. The last match we had Pogba and Fred. Even if you play with McTominay and Donny van der Beek, or any 2 of the 4 midfielders, if you play in that number 8 position, they will always track back when you are attacked or when you're counter attacked. They will help you out. They will help out our defenders along with Nemanja Matic. So that extra protection is always there if we are counter attacked or if we are attacked. So the freedom has to be given to our wing backs. It will really help our forwards to score more goals. And I think Alex Telles was bought in for that reason, because he's really, really good going forward. He can whip in a wonderful cross. He's got a hell of a left foot. Yes, he's suffering from COVID, and we wish him that he recovers very soon. He can get back to the playing ways and he can do well for Manchester United. Now, Another thing that I saw in Solskjaer's video was use of 5 substitutes. Now, if you watch that game against Leipzig, we had used 5 substitutes. Now, that really helped us actually, because if you watch till the 60th minute, we were winning 1-0. Not that we were not in control of the game. We were playing in complete control. We had a really good display. Yes, David De Gea made couple of saves, but I think together as a team we were really doing well. Now, the use of 5 substitutes helps you when you want to kill off the game. That's exactly what we did against RB Leipzig. Now in the Premier League, we are restricted to only 3 substitutes. Now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not actually happy about it. The important reason is because a lot of players have played a lot of games in after the lockdown. The season ended. They didn't even have a proper break or rest period. Within a month, they were back to the Premier League. Yes, we had a extended week wherein our game started 1 week later. But if you see the time difference between our last Europa League game against Sevilla and the first game, it is not even a month. So because of that, our players had to suffer from fatigue, and particularly our season start was not all that good. It was not convincing, and we could really see the side effects in that Tottenham Hotspur's game. That's why Solskjaer stresses on the use of 5 substitutes. Now, a lot of Premier League teams did not support the rule, and I completely agree with them. I understand, because clubs like Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, they have that kind of bench strength. They have those players who can come up from the bench and make a difference. Now, mid-table club like Burnley, Brighton, Southampton, they will not have that depth in their team. Now, let's say if Crystal Palace, or let's say if Sheffield United is winning at Anfield 1-0, or if they're drawing at Etihad against Manchester City 1-1, they do not have that bench strength or players who can come off and add a defensive spark and stop the Manchester City or Liverpool players to score more goals. At the same time, they do not want City and Liverpool players to add in more firepower from the bench and try to win the game. So it's completely understandable from their perspective as well. So, but it is what it is now. We have 3 substitutes, and that's what we need to go with. But there is no way we should change in the formation. Now, we've seen in the games against Newcastle and Arsenal, and for Chelsea, we've gone with 2 defensive midfielders, and we should be really avoiding doing that. Number one, because it really stops us from attacking more. Yes, we hold on to our clean sheet, but right now the important thing is to get more points. Now, most of the teams have not had a good start, including Liverpool. They lost 7-2 to Aston Villa. Now, this is the right time for us to take the advantage. City are particularly not doing well. They've not had a good run of games. They lost against Leicester City. They drew last week. So I think this is the right time for us to take the advantage. Rather than playing on a defensive side, we need to attack more. Now that brings me to the most important discussion. If you read the title of the video, it says Solskjaer versus Arteta. Now, I don't think it's fair on either of these managers to do the comparison. For people who say Solskjaer is better than Arteta, Arteta hardly has had a 1 year. He joined Arsenal like in December or January when he took over from the previous manager. He's not been able to get the players that he wants at the club. He still has players that he doesn't want at the club. He doesn't want in his team, but he has to hold on to those players and make sure that he gets the best out of them. So it's not fair on Arteta to get that comparison done. Maybe after 2 or 3 years, if both the managers stay at the club, that's when we'll start comparing. At the same time, for people who say that Arteta is a better manager tactically and he's won the FA Cup and Community Shield for Arsenal, now please give me a break. Do you think if a top club is provided with the option, let's say if any club is provided with the option of getting into the top 4 and playing the Champions League next year, or winning the FA Cup or the Community Shield? What would you choose? Of course, getting into the top 4 and playing for the playing in the Champions League next season. That's what matters the most. Now, if you remember, Louis van Gaal won the FA Cup for us, and he was sacked because he couldn't get us into Champions League. Champions League not only gets us a lot of revenue, but you play with the top clubs in Europe. So that's the advantage that you have. So like I said, Solskjaer has got us into the top 4. He came number 3 last year, and he had better points than Arteta. So again, like I said, it's not fair on Solskjaer as well to get the comparison done. I think both the managers have shown promises in their own way. Solskjaer at times had a run of good games. He's kept on winning and winning and winning. When he joined Manchester United a couple of years back, and then after the lockdown this year, he went on a winning run. So yes, he's had his share of good runs and tactical things that he's done. The last game, if you remember, against RB Leipzig and then against PSG, he really did well. So, again, getting back to the point, it's never Solskjaer versus Arteta. That's never the question. Both the managers, have to learn a lot, and I think they are capable of achieving really good things, really great things. So let's keep it simple and not, compare and try to say that one is better than the other. Now that brings back me to the starting 11 and the formation. So again, I'll stress on the same point, diamond formation is the must. If we are playing against Arsenal, we need to attack. We cannot go with 2 defensive midfielders. It is not going to do any good. We are going to get the same result, and it's high time we start getting maximum points from our games. Dropping points is not going to help. And then, because most of the teams are still adapting to the Premier League season opener, and they have not yet got their mojo. Most of the top teams like Manchester City and even Arsenal for that matter, have not done well, including us. So this is the right time for us to take the advantage. Once the teams start to get into the gear and start playing well, they won't drop points, especially Liverpool and Man City. So like I said, it's high time that we start getting maximum points from our games, and I really hope that we win against Arsenal today and the next game against Everton before we go into the international break. The last part of the pre-game analysis is always the starting 11 and my predictions. So the starting 11, I'll keep the back four the same that started against Leipzig. Yes, a lot of people would say we should give Tuanzebe a nod, but I think he will get his chance later. Now Lindelof and Maguire have started to do well. I know it's too early to say because it's just a couple of games that they have started to do well and kept a clean sheet, but I think we need to stick with that back four. Nemanja Matic should start because I think he provides a shield to our defenders, and he's like a link up between our midfield and defense. So he needs to start in the defensive midfield. Fred is again undroppable. He has had wonderful performances. I do not want to speak more about him because in every video I've talked about how good Fred is. So he's again undroppable. Now the other number 8, it should either be Paul Pogba or Van der Beek. Knowing Solskjaer, if he plays his diamond formation, he will start Paul Pogba because Pogba really did play well in that number 8 position. He literally prospered in that position. It's like that position suits him the best. He's not a cam attacking midfielder, neither he is a CDM. That number 8 position suits him the best. Not only does that give him the freedom to play and express himself, but it also gets the best out of the defensive abilities as well. I think Paul Pogba will start. Bruno Fernandes will replace Donny van der Beek in that number 10 position, and that's a fair decision because Bruno Fernandes is our best player right now. And I think our strikers will be Rashford and Greenwood, although I wouldn't be surprised if I see Cavani instead of Greenwood. So either of them would do good. But yes, this is going to be our starting 11 if we play with the diamond formation, and I hope we do that. Now, final score predictions, I think we should win this game 3-1 because we're coming from a good win against Leipzig and we're playing at home. And knowing Arteta, he will start with a defensive strategy. He will play with 5 defenders. but we need to stick to our plan. What we did against RB Leipzig, we need to attack. We need to stop, be fearful of teams that they will hit us on the counter attack and play with two defensive midfielders. That's really not a good idea. We should stick to our game plan, and if they counter attack us, we will have our defenders do their job. We have Nemanja Matic, who can nullify the counter attacks. He really does well. He's really good at the job, doing that job. So I think we need to attack more, unlike the Chelsea game, and I'm hoping to see more and more goals. Goal scorers for me should be Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes. 3-1 to us, and I hope we win that way tonight. So guys, with that I'll come to the end of the video. Needless to say, please like, share and subscribe to our channel, and I'll be back tomorrow with a new video. It will be the post game analysis. I hope that I'm in a good mood and it's a talk and more of positives than negativity. So guys, thank you very much for watching the video, and see you tomorrow with the post game analysis and reactions. Thank you very much. Take care.